Mount St. Mary's sport lead. As we always do, we are fortunate enough to be able to partner with Mount St. Mary's for the Sports Fest, and so we have two students who are wonderful and who will help us out this year, Sean and Hanley, and who are, in my experience, who have been wonderful and very hands-on, who actually aren't on the call tonight. They had engagement elsewhere, so but they will listen to the recording, and they are aware of what we're presenting tonight. Just as a rundown, as we are recording, and so that they will be able to listen as well. Will you guys everybody kind of go through and we'll just do a quick introduction. We do have 4 areas that will have athletes competing in long distance running, so we'll just do a quick rundown if you can go through and give a quick attendance. Natalia, I think you have a sheet. If you'll go through and just kind of give who's on the call tonight. All right, so I know we have Washington. John Follett, you said you were on, correct? John, are you on for Washington County?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, John's on. Who else is on for, who else did I hear? Bob Stack, did I hear you on?
Yeah, from Montgomery, Bob Stack.
So Bob Stack from Montgomery County. And did we have anybody from Baltimore? No one from Baltimore. And then in Howard County, did we have anybody from Howard County on tonight? No. Okay. Anybody else on the line?
John Worley is on the web. I didn't hear John on the phone.
Okay, so maybe he's joining us just viewing for his viewing pleasure. On the bottom of the webinar, you'll see that it says *6 to mute and unmute. Since that's just such a small crowd tonight, I don't find the need to mute and unmute. It'll just be an open conversation piece for this evening. You guys have been doing this long enough. You guys are well aware. There are some changes from last year, which we'll go through, but just as we kind of go through, if there's any questions, please feel free to interrupt, and we can ask as we go along. As I mentioned before, I'm Kelly Cox. I will be the venue director. I was the venue director last year for long distance running. Natalia actually oversees long distance running for the state office, but she will be on site at cycling. Natalia, is there anything that you wanted to add before we proceeded?
No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sorry I'm not going to be there, but you guys are in great hands. Kelly's awesome, and so is Sean and Handling. We're very lucky to have them help us from the Mount.
Yeah, I'm excited. So when they asked me if I would be willing to do it, of course I jumped at it with this great group. So I'm excited to come back again for long distance running. All right, Mike? Natalia, do you have access to the slides?
I do. I can flip through them for you.
All right, let's go ahead and let's go flip to the next slide. All right, Natalia, if you'll click through the next one. I don't know if you have access to it, but we're not showing anything on our next one.
You're not?
No. On mine, I'm not. Is anybody else showing? I just see the front cover page.
I see the overall event schedule. You might, John or Bob, do you see the overall event schedule slide?
Yeah, I've got that.
Okay. Kelly, you may be you may have lost your connection.
We'll go through again. All right. Let's try this again. Well, the overall event guide schedule, I can actually pull up what we had from before. As you can see, we're going to go through just, Mike sent it to me right here, show on the right page. We're going to go through a little bit of the overall Fall Fest, as well as to get in a little bit more details regarding kind of the agenda, the welcoming introductions, the overall event information as Fall Fest itself, and then more specific long distance running. So we're all, just so I'm sure we're on the third slide, the overall event schedule, correct? So the time frame for the day?
Yes.
Okay, great. So 7:30 to 8:30 is the delegation registration, which is Control Center, which is the not ARCC, upper level, the Horning Hospitality Suite. 8:30 to 9 delegations assemble in seating areas in that arena, and then opening ceremonies. A lot of times with long distance running, and you guys have both been doing this quite a long time. You guys usually make your way down to the kind of the staging area, the starting and finish line area, and kind of set up camp, as you guys have done in the past, before you guys make your way up to the Knott Arena, which I'm assuming you guys will do again this year. Opening ceremonies would be between 9 and 9:45, with a competition meeting at 10 o'clock. And a few slides later on, we'll go down and get a little bit more detail regarding the competition schedule for long distance running. Family hospitality is run. Competition as a whole for Fall Fest will run until 5 o'clock. For long distance running, we are scheduled to complete by 12:30, 12:45, with awards beginning at 1 o'clock. Family hospitality will be open and available from 10 to 4 o'clock. Yeah, that's a little bit of an issue. So delegation registration, there will be a packet for each sport. One thing that does not impact us, but flag football will have a packet for each one, for each team. The next slide, if we go to the next slide, is just a general overlay of campus. One thing that I do want to point out, one thing that we've done in the past is a lot of times lunch does come to, if you'll notice, we usually have a tent with our control center for long distance running. And that's where you guys, each delegation can pick up your lunch from that control center, and then you guys distribute to your athletes, to your delegate members, and then you guys can eat usually around there. Once we compete, all of our competitions are complete, we've headed up to kind of the Knott Arena. It's in the kind of the adjacent room to where we've done all the awards, and that's where we've held awards. This year's will be a little bit different. What you'll notice is, if you look in kind of the middle of your screen, you'll see distance running. There's a lunch and awards. There's a nice pavilion, a covered area, which is right next to, it's a little bit higher up from the flag football area. But while you can pick up the lunches in the control center, your teams will have, your athletes and your delegation will have a closed area in the pavilion to eat, as well as once all the runs have completed, awards will be given and distributed and awarded in that same pavilion area. So that's something to note in this map. That's a little bit different than what we've done in the past. And as you'll tell you, in the past, all the awards for tennis and for powerlifting, for tennis as well as for long distance running, have also been given out, but those have been distributed out to the actual venues, the competition venues. So long distance running will take place in that pavilion. Are there any questions about that? That is a change from what we've done in the past.
Are there going to be porta potties there by that pavilion, or are there just going to be ones down by the start-finish line?
No, I believe there are. I did a site visit with Natalia and with Steve, and Natalia, you may be able to, if you guys had more of a final position on where these are going to be, we've added another flag football field, so where there will be more conveniently located porta potties, porta johns, closer to that area.
Yeah, they're going to be, this is Steve, they're going to be right kind of down where you see where flag football little thing is on the diagram. There'll be a quick little, maybe 100 yards or so from that pavilion.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Are there any other questions about the map? In the past, I know that. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the packets are picked up at the venue in the morning.
I think in the past, the packet pickups are in the registration process, correct? I mean, that's what we've done in the past, is when the head of delegations pick up the packets, you guys you pick them up there as well.
Yeah, that'll be in the delegation check-in area up in the Horning Hospitality Room in the arena.
Okay.
The upper level, if you're coming in where you see tennis awards,
okay,
you can walk in that front door and it's right to your left, or if you're coming in from the fields, you walk in there and you can go up the elevator or up the stairs and just follow that hallway down to the control center.
Like years past, parking will be in the same areas as years past. I know that a lot of times you and the families have like to park along that side road. That I don't see that being a problem of being available Steve may be able to comment too on that as well. But that should be available to you guys first thing in the morning. Any other questions about that? Okay, let's go to the next slide, and I'll move on to my next slide and hope that we're staying in unison. General information? Right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Perfect. Sorry, I apologize that for some reason it's not advancing on my go-to meetings. But what we talked about is the brief opening ceremonies at 9 o'clock in Knott Arena. Lunch, food services. Lunch will be delivered to the sport venue beginning at 11 a.m. It will be, we'll have volunteers on hand that will be able to separate based on the, I believe that you guys all gave, your delegation should have given your lunch orders, and so we will separate those on hand, and then we will give them to the head coaches, and then you guys can separate, and then, like we said, the pavilion will be available to eat lunch. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful day, and if you guys wanted to be able to eat right there, you guys should be good to go. But then again, the awards will be also given at that pavilion area as well. Coach will really pick up lunches for the team as a group. And then today would be the day that your order forms were due. Concessions will be available for purchase to all attendees in the Knott Arena in the upper level. Family hospitality, we talked about it earlier, but family hospitality, we'll go over it in a little bit more detail. A family hospitality area will be located in the Knott Arena in the upper level and near the flag football field. So there'll be an additional family hospitality area that will be easily accessible for long distance running and flag football. Refreshments and information on Special Olympics and other topics of interest to families will be available. And I do believe that Susan Holland was getting that information out to all the families that there was an additional location for families, to serve families. And then refreshments are for family members only. Event guides will be mailed to all registered coaches on or before the 14th for those who have email addresses on hand. And then Steve's going to do a great job of getting the event by November 13th. The evaluation link will be set out again to everyone that we have an email address and our registration site. Any questions about any of that? Just a quick little note about opening ceremonies and the parade of athletes. Only two athletes, or unified partners from each delegation, will carry delegation banners. Head of delegation must report to the opening ceremony staging area in the field house with the names of banner carriers no later than 8:30 a.m. And I'm sure you guys are aware that kind of anything and a delay in that's going to delay the parade of athletes, would also delay opening ceremonies, which kind of has that nice kind of ripple effect and delays kind of as we go down towards the day. Banner carriers must be physically present at this time. If not, they will not be included in the parade, although the delegation will be recognized in the script. The banner carriers will remain in the opening ceremony staging area until the ceremony begins. Any delegation who does not report with banner holders by 8:30 a.m. will not be included in the parade. Names and other info needs to get to several copies of script. Athlete MCs need to rehearse with the names several times prior to the start of ceremony. If the names of the banner carriers can be identified between now and the event, please forward those names to your regional sports director as soon as possible. With the point being that at 8:45 until 9, that information can't be changed because it just has too much of an impact, and last-minute changes cannot be made. Any questions on that?
Yeah, not a question, but I just want to kind of lay it out there that there's 2 banner carriers per county program, so it's not necessarily that long distance running has to do that, but just work with your other coaches within your county program and your head delegate to select those 2 banner carriers.
Who do we send the names to?
If you want to send them to your head delegate, and they can forward them along to their regional sports director,
Okay.
that would be great.
Perfect. All right, moving right along. So now we should be on the long distance running schedule for today. At 8 o'clock, the course will open for inspection, which will also open for you all to have access to the course. We, as staff of volunteers, will be there a lot earlier than that to make sure that it is up and available for you all, to make sure that you guys have a good have access to it and have a good idea, especially with, you guys have been doing this obviously for a while. We did make a change to the blue course, so we want to make sure that you're comfortable with it and that the athletes are comfortable with the change. So with the prep work that we'll do Friday and the prep work that we'll do early Saturday morning, I feel comfortable that say by 8 that you should be able to have access to it so that you're comfortable getting your athletes on the course so that they can become familiar with it. So 8 o'clock, the course will be open for inspection. Of course, 9 o'clock will be open ceremonies. That should wrap around 9:45, and then we will reconvene at 10 o'clock for our coaches meeting on site. And then by 10:20, we'll start staging for the 5K, and then we have a 10:20 5K staging and 10:30 5K start. And you can kind of see as we go down the line, the times are approximate, the staging and start. But we will also, the focus being that we will start the next race as soon as the last one finishes, with allowing enough time. Obviously, we will not start a race early if not all athletes are ready and there and present. We will not hurt an athlete by starting early if they are not there and present. Any questions about that? These are all approximates, and then lunch starting at 12:15, by 12:45, athletes report to the awards area, and by 1 we should be doing presenting awards. With that, we'll go ahead and get into kind of where we are with looking into GMS with the entries in the events. So on to the next slide. Currently, we have 11 entries into the 800. We do have 2 teams into the 800 unified. We have 12 entries into the 1500 with 2 teams into the 1500 unified, 6 entries into the 3000, and 20 entries into the 5000. With 4 areas: Baltimore City, Howard County, Montgomery County, and Washington County representing in the long distance running. Next slide, please. We talked about earlier the race courses and the updates, and I want to spend a little bit of time on that. I know that we did have a little bit of a hiccup last year with the 5,000, the blue race, and with kind of the flow of the race and mid-race based on some directional snafu, had some runners that were led into a different direction than in the race than they were supposed to. So hopefully, I know that Mike and I think actually Bob, and I apologize, John, I don't know who else was kind of on the committee that went out there and developed the new blue course. But you guys did an excellent job and spent some time and created a course that really kind of goes all over mountain areas and did a fantastic job of really kind of creating a challenging course that's diverse. So with the change, because it is a different course from what was done in the past, we went out there a couple of weeks ago and did a site visit. So Natalia and I, along with Steve and our 2 representatives from Mount St. Mary's, put a lot of focus on making sure that we wanted to make sure that we would mark the course adequately enough that because it is a different course, that our athletes would feel comfortable and confident enough in knowing the track. So we put some effort and do a lot of signage, not only for the blue course as well as the red and the yellow course, but feel confident and that it will be well marked. And with you guys being out there at 8 a.m., you should be able to get your athletes out there and feel like you can.
Will you have adequate markers out on the course?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. I did not hear that.
Will you have marshals on the course?
Yes, in addition to marshals, yeah. So we will have, I think we've requested close to 40 marshals. So in addition to, we're going to actually, in the past, we've done the paint arrows on the ground. We're going to do more H-stake signs that will also color coordinate with the blue course, so blue arrows, as well as we'll put marshals along the way with those signs as well. So our team will be on site on Friday afternoon to lay that out and make sure we get a good feel and that's adequate enough to provide proper direction for the athletes. The same will be given not only for the blue course, but for the red course and the yellow course.
So for the blue course, which line is the start? There are two terminuses here.
What do you think? Natalia, do you want to comment on that a little bit more?
When we, this is Bob Stack, when we were kind of laying it out in the summer, the little part there to the left of the, the little tail that kind of sticks out to the left, that was going to be the start, and the finish was going to be the little tail to the right.
Right. Yeah. The piece that runs a little parallel to the track is the start. So they'll run down and turn left and go around the curve of the track. Then after they make the loop, they'll go a second time around, and then when they come the second time around, it won't be a sharp hairpin turn there, but they'll then come off and go a little short distance back to the road into the chute that we always have there for the finish line.
Is there a chute that's not drawn on here? It looks like a straight line here this year.
Yes, we'll set up a chute for the athletes to finish through.
But it'll be the chute will be a straight line into it. Last year you had something where you had to turn a corner into the chute.
Yeah, there will still be a bit of a turn there because they're going to be coming off of the running alongside what's you can't tell it necessarily, but it's the soccer stadium, or I guess it's actually the lacrosse stadium. But there'll still be I don't know, John or Bob, what would you say? At least 30 meters, 40 meters of straight.
Yeah, we talked about it when we were there, and it seemed like something. If you're going to be up there on Friday, kind of setting it up and all of that, just as long as the turn isn't sharp, I think everything is going to be fine.
Right.
Well, what's drawn here on the map is accurate. Is that what you're saying? I mean, it has a gentle bend in it.
No, I mean what's drawn on the map now. If you whether it's something, I guess it's a lacrosse field. You've gone around that thing. There's a purple thing way down there at the right-hand corner. You come up. What's drawn there now would be an extremely hard turn to negotiate. What we were really kind of walking and measuring in the summer was, no worse than a 90-degree turn.
Right.
It didn't look like anything that would be a hard thing to negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the drawing is not perfect right now.
Okay.
I thought the path that we had done actually had come closer to that building near where they park the RV. So then you wouldn't have had, you wouldn't bend down and then have almost a 270-degree turn. I think that's where we came up with a 90-degree turn, Bob.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's real hard. I don't have any, I can move the little cursor on my laptop around, but I don't think anyone else can see it. I think you're right, Sean, that, yeah, it came a little closer to that.
I think there's a swale in there that we had them cross, because if I remember correctly, there was a very narrow opening that's on the line that's drawn right now.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were, really and truly, we were measuring a very reasonable left turn there.
Yeah, and I think when we get on site, 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, we'll be there obviously on Friday, but then also Saturday morning. I think that ironing out, making sure it's a reasonable turn.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you're not going. It's not going to be quite like it's not going to be the one that's in the drawing right now.
Yeah, I think it definitely will be eyeing it while we're on site. there any other questions about that? All right, if not, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry. Okay, if not, we'll go on to the next one. Just talking about courses of competition. Again, all courses will be on varied surfaces, primarily a mix of grass and gravel. Courses will be marked by orange traffic cones, signage, and painted arrows. To that point, though, we'll also have H stakes and signs. We're going to do our best to make it very, very visible and make it very visible to the athletes. Also, marshals will be present throughout the course. We put a lot of focus on making sure we have enough athletes, and then also through the conversations, with the 5K being the first race, it allows us to put that out first with no confusion and making sure that they're in the proper place with the longest race and it being the first race and in essence the unfamiliar race that hasn't been done first. So there's a little bit more they're a little bit more at ease with having a higher number of marshals in the first race. Each race distance will be with a mass start. Each race will begin immediately following the conclusion of the previous race and may start earlier if get seriously off schedule. Some rules reminders, again, these are probably put in the preseason webinar, but just as a reminder, all distance running competitions will be started using a mass start for each distance contested. Example given a mass start for a 5K and a second mass start for 3K. All races will be started using a 2-command start, racers ready, followed by the firing of a gun, unified races, athletes, and then I believe last year we did not have unified races because we did not have unified partners, but this year we have 2 teams for both unified races. Unified races, each athletes and partners are to run as a tandem pair. Each person within the pair is to finish the race within 5 seconds of one another. A combined time of both the athlete and the partner will be recorded as the official time. Pairs may touch and hold hands. However, pulling, carrying, and other action deemed unsafe will result in disqualification. Again, attire. Athletic shorts, pants are to be worn. No khakis, denim, or cutoff shorts. During competition, athletes may not wear medals, ribbons, names, badges, headphones, or jewelry, which we will take a note of at the starting line. Exceptions that can be made: medical alert bracelets, necklaces, stud earrings, and simple flat rings may be allowed at the official's discretion. Athletes in all long-distance running events may wear a wristwatch or other personal timing devices. Athletes may not wear clothing with advertising on it during competition or awards. Shoes, if worn, must be appropriate for athletic competition. Work boots or open-toed shoes are not permitted. Next slide regarding staging. Check in with clerk at stated time. Staging will be in the general area of the starting line. Last year we had the tent on the other side of the start line, which we will again have this year, which we will have staging right there. Athletes must have a bib attached to the front of their uniform. Athletes should arrive at staging ready to race. And then the final, excuse me, not the final slide, I apologize. The next slide is in regards to the weather. Our weather plan is if it only is rain, we will continue with the competition unless it is torrential raining. If it is thunder and lightning, we will move to the pavilion, wait for the announcement to move to the location, which I will make as the venue director, and then staging will move to the pavilion. If you want to continue to look for the forecast for Evansburg, the zip code is 21727. Some miscellaneous notes to make note of: protest procedures. Protest filed at athletics. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just actually, this was a point from a slide or so ago. I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute my line. At staging, just a reminder to folks, and pass this on to your assistant coaches. When it says arrive ready to run or ready to compete, that means, of course, if there's any bathrooming issues or anything, those have already been taken care of. It seems like every year we're ready to start a race and an athlete has to leave to use the restroom. So please take care of all that ahead of time. Thanks.
Coming back, so protest procedures. Protest filed at Athletics Control Center by head coach within 30 minutes of posted results. Only the head coaches can file a protest. Appeals filed within 24 hours in the control center. The results will have a board out there, and they will be posted in the starting area following completion of each race, and then the results will be emailed by Tuesday, October 25th. Water stations. A single water station will be provided at the finish area, and the 3K and the 5K races will have water available to runners as they cross the transition area near the start-finish line. Any kind of special needs or any other issues that may arise, go ahead and feel free to reach out to Natalia or myself, and our email addresses are there. Any questions about that?
I think we're good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Our final slide is just questions and more info, and as you know, are listed are your regional sports directors. Feel free to reach out to Nick Anderson, who oversees Anne Arundel, Cecil, and Harford counties, the lower and upper shores. His contact information is right there. Natalia oversees Central Maryland, which is Calvert, Charles, Howard, Prince George's, and St. Mary's counties. Melissa Anger oversees Western Maryland, which is Allegheny, Carroll, Frederick, Garrett, Montgomery, and Washington counties. And then Ron Freeman, who everyone's familiar with, because he was actually assisting with long distance running last year and oversees the track, is now joining us on staff, but will not be with us for the Fall Sports Fest. But he now, we are lucky to have as our Baltimore Region Director, and feel free to call and harass him, as his email address is now located there, and he is now overseeing the Baltimore City and Baltimore County areas. That concludes our slides. Now we can open up to any questions, comments, concerns that you might have.
I think we're in pretty good shape. We've never had a protest.
That's good. We might have come close last year. Last year was probably the closest we had. When we had
Yeah, but, you know, what
we're
can
not
you do?
going to have it this year, though. We're not going to. I'm determined.
I hope not.
We are. We may have everything else go wrong, but that is not going to be what we have wrong. No, we're going to be good. It's going to be good. And I will say, our two folks from Mount St. Mary's are quite impressive. They're very Sean and Hanley have been very take charge individuals, and have very it's been impressive to kind of work with them, and I think that they I kind of filled it in with what happened last year, and so in regards to making sure that we advise our marshals in leading our athletes in which directions we need to go. I think that's definitely not something that we're going to see happen this year, but I think that they are they've been impressive. So I don't think we're going to see any kind of issues or concerns this year. So I think you'll be happy with the competition this year. Is there anything else anybody else would like to add? Steve or Mike or Natalia? I know that I kind of took over, and these poor people have listened to me talk for the last 33 minutes.
No, I'm good.
I think we're fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I think you pretty much covered everything, Kelly. I'm really bummed I'm not going to be there, guys. I'm sorry, but you're in good hands with Kelly.
No, I told her, like, this is like the best one, like the best competition to do. I lucked out. If there's anything that comes up from now and till next Saturday, feel free to email me or to call me. Of course, email Natalia or call her as well. And I know that I speak for Mike and Steve as well, that you can reach out to them should you need anything in the meantime. Well, if there's nothing else, then I will let you guys go back to your Monday evening shenanigans, whatever it may be.
So you email this packet out to us? The slides?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You will email the slides to us?
Yes, I will. I'll make sure that this goes out to everybody. That I will actually probably either have Natalia do it, only because I didn't have access to because I'm offline now. For some reason, it wouldn't let me go into go-to meetings. But if I don't, for my first thing tomorrow morning, I'll make sure that everybody has the slideshow right now. So you'll have it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
The slides and the recording will be sent out this week, guys.
Good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. Have a good night.